Okay, so good morning, everyone. I hope that some people will stay and not everyone will rush to the beers. But if someone is going, just bring one for me as well. What we're going to cover today, basically we're going to speak about the mobile web. And I'll try to give some hints or some best practices of first, why you should care about it. Later, how you should really leverage it. And third, how to do it as productively as possible. We really have a short time, but if you have any questions, comment, feedback, just feel free to reach out to me afterwards. It's Greenido in one word on Twitter, G+, LinkedIn, whatever you feel most comfortable with. So these are the main three aspects that we're going to cover today. First, just to touch, and usually when I'm talking to developers, one of the most urgent questions is, should I build a native app or should I go with a website? We'll try to cover it and see what is going on in the real world 2015. Later we'll talk about distribution because as you all know, one of the most fundamental and most important aspects is how to first and foremost acquire customers, later on find the ones that are paying us, but just to reach out to the broad base of customers out there, how we could do it. And of course, we'll talk about the trend in mobile web. And lastly, we'll just try to cover, and the presentation will be online, so you could go, everything is linkable, and everything in the slides got good links to just dive deeper if you want afterwards just to do it. So first, why we should care. It's not a big secret, you all been aware the trends are going, that mobile is going up and to the right, and desktop and large screens are going down. And actually, that's the global trends in the world. But if we're looking at interesting places like India or China or Brazil or any country that the next 1.5 billion users will come from, this is the reality right now. So the upper line is mobile devices, the bottom is desktop. So just grasping where we are standing, it's around 70% of mobile devices, the small screen ones, and all the rest are desktop. But again, the trends are going in one direction only. What we find really interesting, and that's I think one of the most important slides that I have today, is that if you're looking on the time spent, yeah, it's very true, users are spending their times in apps. Mostly, by the way, on social apps and games. However, when we trying to identify those 14% of time that users are spending on sites, we see that the vast majority of them prefer to do commercial tasks on sites. And that's some really big, important piece of information that you should take. And if there's one thing that you should take from all this talk, is that there's a golden path, like anything in life, and probably you want to do both. So you want to have a native app, and definitely you want to have a great mobile site with great experience if you want, in the end of the day, to sell something. So commercial tasks, by far, are being preferred by users to do it over mobile websites. And you can see here the breakdowns versus the industries. Very interesting to show, to see, or to emphasize that it's very, very bold to see that most of the users, 65% and above, in some industries it's actually 75% are just prefer to do it over the web. Distribution. So it's not a big secret, but Google is going to do this and to do lots of other things that are going actually to make sure that users find a great mobile website. Why? Because it's extremely important for us as developers to wow our users and to have them really be pleased and love our product. And first and foremost, we want to have a great mobile site, a site that have all the characteristics that we like to see. And Google is going to use it as one of many of these different aspects of who is going to be ranked. So that, I think, another very important incentive to make sure that your mobile website is being done with all the best practices that we're going to cover. So what we see out there today and how we could actually take those low-hanging fruits and make them much, much better. So in the old days, we had those 3 ways of creating mobile websites. And there was one notion of let's create this our domain and have a separate pages and maybe separate models that are responsible to the pages. Or dynamic serving, so we'll do some sniffing of the user agent and we'll try to do the best match. It definitely seems that a much better approach will be a responsive web design. We have one holistic place where we're serving everyone, and it's very, very important for us to make our life easier. The world is complicated as it is, to make sure that we have one set of pages that just know how to make sure that they're using the best real estate that the device is giving them. So probably responsive web design will be the most efficient way to do it. This is how it looks like. Usually we want to start, on your side it will be on the left, and scale to the right. Why? Because when we have this constraint of the real estate that we have, we really should take our design very carefully and make sure that we are leveraging each and every pixel. Later on, it's much easier to add things to the larger screen. And the other way around, we found out through research, it's much, much harder. So sites or companies that already have the one on the right, probably it will be a good idea to try and create a project, maybe a sub-project, that just starting from scratch from the left and going all the way up. Those are just the cost analysis or the benefits that we want to see and why responsive web design serving us much better. And usually for SEO purposes, of course, we're having the same URLs. And for our own sake of sanity and continuous integration, unit testing, and making sure that the code that we're producing is quality, we have just one set of markup, and it's much, much easier for us. So how Google identify those mobile-friendly sites and how you will get this nice tag and it will be rewarded. So first and foremost, we want to make sure that the primary content is accessible. So we want to use HTML, JavaScript, CSS, not something that will be blocked by definition on small devices. We want to make sure that the viewport is pre-configured. Of course, that the sizes of the button, everything is actionable, it's big enough, the fonts are readable, and basically what we want to make sure is that the user could be productive and accomplish their task quite easily and quickly on our mobile devices. One of the most basic aspects that we see again and again is that we want to make sure that the scrolling just vertically. It's never a good idea to mix the two, with one caveat that if you're having a revealed menu, usually it will be on the side, but user got this muscle memory and it's easy for us just to leverage and tap on it. Big mistakes that we see is that we are blocking content. What I mean by that is that we're doing something unintentionally probably, and in the robo.txt we are masking some directory that Google needs in order to render and see that the site is working nicely on smaller devices. We really want to make sure that we are not blocking any content, that we are not serving Flash, and basically that we are giving Googlebot or any other search engine bot the exact same information that will give a regular user. The identification or the user agent that the bot is using is now being actually matched between the mobile one and the regular one. So you just want to make sure that you're serving it the exact same thing. Other big mistakes that are really, really painful, and we see it again and again, is 404. And the 404 is usually on some subsections of the sites. In that example, it will be on a subdomain. Again, if we're using responsive web design, it won't happen to us because it's the exact same page. And we really encourage you as developers to pay attention to it and to make sure that you are not having 404s just for mobiles. One easy way to do it, by the way, is to leverage webmaster tools, and I'll have a link further. One of the new aspects that we're having now and revealing in the developer tools, in the webmaster tools, is the notion of what is going on specifically on your mobile pages. So it will be any good information that will be actionable for you. And I highly encourage you to just register and to make sure that your sites and domains are registered with the Webmaster Tool. It's a great tool to close this feedback loop and to get the feedback from Google of what Google see that is good, bad, and ugly in your site. So a checklist that you could go and just work with when you are improving or building the new site or web app. First, we touch about it, but we want to allow crawling on all the different components that we are using. Most importantly, the JavaScript, CSS, and of course the HTML. Google will render and try to emulate how the site will look like. And it's very important not to block some part of it, because then the emulator are broken and you won't get the credit that you deserve. To check redirects, and if you have some continuous integration or some process that's checking how your site is acting and how you're working with it, very important. If you don't, one, it's a good idea to build it, but Webmaster Tool will give you the benefits of reporting what pages are doing redirects, what are the amount of 404 that you are getting, etc. Not to serve some errors or some main subdomains or some subsections in the sites only to mobile users, just to make sure that it's exactly the same thing. And of course, to treat the Googlebot as a user. That's one of the crucial things. In terms of resources, those are the two old new links that you want to try and leverage. The new one is the smartphone sites. That is a new section that actually being built here in the Israeli office. And the whole goal of it is to make you more aware of what is good or need improvement in the mobile website. How we're doing it, and the main point here is how we think is more productive to work at these days, and what are the best practices that you could take with you and leverage. So I'll just try to go over it quite quickly. Everything, again, is linkable, so you could dive into it later on. We have this resource that we call Web Fundamentals. It's under developer.google.com. And everything that we see or think that it's the right way, it's very opinionated, by the way. It's our opinion, and you could take from it whatever you like, so whatever is working for you. So first and foremost, how we're setting up the environment and how we want to be more productive when we are starting a project or when we're working with an existing project. It's first, of course, the editor. Really like a certain one, but you could choose any editor or any IDE that make you more productive. The main goal here is just to try and master it, to know all the shortcuts, to add all the plugins, and to make sure that you really know it inside out. Any tool that you're working day in, day out with, worth the investment of really mastering it. There's open source projects like Atom from GitHub that is a great way to leverage. Sublime, IDEs like IntelliJ or NetBean or WebStorm or any ones that you like. It's less important what are the specific ones, and each one got his own favorite one. It could be Vim, it could be Emacs, it could be anything. The ones that make you more productive, really worth the time to really investigate it. The link here is actually taking you to a place in Web Fundamentals where we're giving you all the plugins that we like and we found that are making us better. Things like JS Hint or code completions to specific things are all baked in it. Later, when you are setting up your development tools, lots of tasks that could be automated should be automated. And again here, the link just taking you to, the link at the top taking you to an article that's just describing exactly how you could be a master of the command line. Everything here is being done automatically in terms of a live reload, automation on multi-devices, and usually you want in the end of the day to check on multiple devices. Everything should be done with a click or be automated completely. Web Starter Kit, you're all aware, I guess, for Bootstrap and Foundation, which two of the most popular CSS frameworks. We started with another way to think about mobile websites or mobile web apps, and it's called the Web Starter Kit. And again, the link here, and with one line of clone, you could get everything for you. The nice thing that I like about it is that it's giving two things. One is a friendly delete button. You could just get rid of all the things that you don't like, and you don't need the CSS offering that we have there, although it's very nice. If you prefer or you're more comfortable with Bootstrap or Foundation or any other framework out there, the nice thing is that basically in Web Starter Kit, everything is baked for you. So you have from the minute that you install it, two aspects to work with. It will work out of the box with this drawer of menu on the side, and it will do the right things to screens from mobile, through tablets, up to desktop. I really highly encourage you to check it out. Even if in the end of the day you'll just decide that you want to take some of the components or the methodologies that are baked into it, it's really worth the time to check it out and see what is being done there. So when we're coming to build, of course we want the build, and today it's becoming more and more a notion that like in any other technology, we want to have a completely automatic phase. Gloop, Grunt, all the other great tools that are out there could do a lot of the legwork for us. And by the way, on Web Starter Kit, you're getting it with Gloop automatically. You want, after that you have the first version, to bake into the process the optimization and to make sure that you're really keen about performance. Performance is another very important issue. In all those networks that we're going to have the next 1.5 billion users, latency is going to be one of the most important aspects that we're going to deal with. So as efficient as possible is very, very welcomed approach. Tests should be automated. So if you have a test-driven development environment, or even if you're just doing some of the tests, you want to make sure that they are baked into the process and you're running it each and every commit or each and every run. And of course, integrating into developer tools. And one of the things that we have today, which is becoming very efficient and much, much better than it used to be, is Chrome DevTools, that giving you lots of the aspects of really working in it as another IDE. In terms of debug, Chrome DevTools is one of the, I would say, great tools out there, giving you lots of many tabs that are enhancing you with lots of capabilities of profiling and a network tab. And the beauty there is it's all web technologies. So if you have a specific use case that you want to do that haven't been done today, you are most welcome to just create an extension and have your own tab there. When we want to make sure that we are profiling, we have today in DevTools some really nice aspects of the CPU usage, the memory usage, and in that link there's a ton of information of how you could really drill down and make sure that you're optimizing the memory consumption, the network utilization, and of course the CPU. Emulation, that's actually one of the new favorite tabs. You can try and just emulate and see how your new mobile web app or mobile website is going to look like on a really wide range of different devices. And that's a really neat way to just check quickly and hopefully automatically how the sites will look like on a wider range of devices. Testing. So there's today quite lots of services that making our life easier. If you are around Tel Aviv, in the campus we have a device library, so you are most welcome to come and check on real devices, which is always the best. But day in, day out, you want to make sure that you're optimizing, and you could use the tools that are online out there in the cloud to make sure that you are testing. One of the great tools is Browser Stack, and it's really nice way to just check on wide variety of devices and to see exactly what is happening in the timefall and how fast your page is being rendered and the user could be productive with it. In terms of the emulation, you want to make sure that you are tackling the big problems first and later on just to work on the responsiveness and to see that what you're adding or how you leverage the media queries, the different ones, is working for you. One of the great aspects in that emulation tab is that you could set a different type of networks. So if you want to see how your site is working on a 3G network or an edge, that could be done, and that's something that is very crucial when you want to check and make sure that your site is working nicely on slow networks, because usually in the places that you are working, I would assume that the network is very nice, and then you're missing a lot of aspects that users will hit when they get into your sites, like from right now through the network that we have here. Real device testing, I touched about it briefly. I mean, if you have those devices, it's always great and the final step that you should make. Today we have some nice plugins that make it a click away, so you could really easily have several devices connected to your box and make sure that you're running on all of them at once, the site or the test. And one of the things that we are showing is exactly how to do it. But in the end of the day, you want to check and to see that the form factor is working and your website is working nicely on a real device, and of course, to try and set few devices that are just generic enough to mimic all the rest. Other tool that we're having and giving you a quite nice way to see what are the low-hanging fruit that you could improve quite quickly is page speed insight. You could get the links from Webmaster Tool or just do page speed insight. You put in your domain, and in a few seconds you'll get the scores, and more importantly, what you should fix in order to make the score higher. As you could see here, the BBC is getting 30 out of 100, which is not that good. My personal site is getting now 73, but I'll improve it a bit. Anything between 65 to 80 is okay, is fine. Above 80 is great. And below is something that you definitely want to check. It could be the responsiveness of the images. It could be just loading the JavaScript and CSS at the bottom of the page and not blocking it at the top. It could be lots of different things. The nice thing here is that you're immediately getting the action items that you need to follow in order to improve it. So I highly recommend to check it out and actually to bind it into the development phase to see that if someone is making any changes to the current state, the score here is just going up and not down. Other great tool that is out there is web page test. The nice thing here is that you basically getting microsecond after microsecond what is going on with the site, and it will show you how fast it's been rendered, of course for clean cache, and then if you're leveraging cache, how it will be to repeated user. And you're getting some scores to see exactly what is going on here and how you should think of fixing it. If you're using SSL, and I highly recommend to use it, HTTPS, for lots of purposes, not just the phase of the monetization and the purchase, actually a great way to check and to see what's going on in terms of all the different security aspects is Query SSL Lab. And it's again a free service that you could check and get the scores and see what you need to improve or not with your specific domain. So 5 resources that we talked about. The first 2 are something that we as Google are maintaining and trying to move forward. This is, again, an opinionated way that we found that is working great for us and making us more productive. I highly encourage just to check it out and to see if it's working for you, great. If not, I'm sure that there are some aspects that you could take and leverage. For instance, we're working in an environment of Node.js with Gloop and NPM. It might be that you're working in an environment of Python or PHP. I'm sure that you could find the equivalent plugins that are doing the magic of live reloading and minification for the JavaScript, CSS, and images on the fly, but it will work in the environment that you already have. And if you're starting a project from scratch, I just encourage to check it out and see why it's working quite nicely for us. HTML5 Rock is another great resource just to keep yourself updated with all the latest and greatest of what is being baked into the platform. It's going to be actually very, very interesting year. I would expect in the next 2 quarters to have finally on the mobile devices some really powerful aspects that hold us back in the past. One of them is service worker. Anyone here heard about service worker? Just show of hands. Okay. So it's basically the ability for us to make an offline website or an offline web app that's working quite nicely and much more powerfully than the old App Cache API. With that, we been introduced with the notification. So finally, we are in a position that we create a real world-class web app that are quite mimic or quite close to what we used to do with native apps. So it's extremely exciting times. And even if you think on your site as, let's say, a site and not an app, although don't ask me what is the difference, using some technology like Service Worker will make your sites much more robust, much more fast. So it's definitely something that I encourage you to check it out. And the good news is it's out today. So it's in Chrome 42, which was just released. So definitely something that's worth checking it out. To keep yourself updated, it's update.html5 rock. The last two are just the tools that I mentioned that are very, very good way to bundle into your daily routine of checking and seeing that you're improving the state of your sites and not the other way around. So with that, I would love to take some questions if you have. Okay, great. So I'll be here hanging around. If you have afterwards some things, just feel free. Thank you very much.